Good morning, fellow athletes. My name is Mikhail. Welcome to my channel debut. So I've been pursuing bodybuilding for the last couple years now, and I decided it was time I start to document my progress, give myself a little bit of accountability, and see if I can get some help from the community at large. I'm going to be posting about the struggles that I have as a bodybuilder, struggles with staying healthy in the gym in terms of joint health and making sure form is correct to prevent kind of nerve injuries or something I've struggled with recently. I'm also going to be talking about my diet, talking about different kinds of things we can do with recovery. I feel like recovery is something that's not really talked about too much. There's a lot of focus on the lifts and not enough on how to actively recover. So that's something I'm going to be exploring a lot and posting a lot about, giving my opinion there. So my current pre-workout stack here that I'm shaking up is a naked pre-workout, no flavoring here. I try to stay away from artificial flavorings and sucralose as much as possible. Creatine, plain and simple, whatever's cheap, whatever I find. We had this, my mom had bought it because it's a good brand from Thorne. Then I'm also taking electrolytes, as always, take those every day. Again, no flavor needed. L-carnitine to help boost some fat loss on a cut that I've been really trying to work on, trying to burn fat around my midsection. Currently sitting around low 20s in the body fat percentage. Weighing in, today I weighed in at 177 pounds. I've been as low as 155 and has been as heavy as 200. So my goal right now is to keep leaning down, as that's a more comfortable weight for me. It's not really about aesthetics. I just feel more comfortable at a lower body fat percentage. So I usually start every morning on my drive to the gym. Very simply listen to some tunes to get my mind right. And as soon as I arrive at the gym, I try to spend at least 10 to 15 minutes, if not more than that, doing a little Bible study and just being grateful for the day before I jump into the gym. Today's read was the book of Habakkuk, which was particularly relevant right now with all the wars that have been going on between Russia and Ukraine, and now the recent news with Palestine and Israel. There's just a lot going on right now, so I think Habakkuk gives us a nice perspective there on how to stay a little bit positive. So now as we jump into the workout, today's workout is a HYROX training workout by Jacob Heppner, which was challenged to me by a friend of mine, another HYROX athlete, as well as a tactical games athlete, Sergun Benjamin. Now, the way this workout is supposed to go, this whole circuit is supposed to be basically a 4-minute, 30-second race with a short break in between the first two exercises. And the object is to get the row and the ski done as fast as possible so that you have enough time to do the burpee box jump overs at the end. And you're scored. What you do is you score yourself at the end of this exercise, at the end of this workout, and the score is the number of box jump overs that you complete. Now, I was in a bit of a time crunch today, this also being my first time, and also feeling a little bit out of my element with it being a cold morning. I think the next time I do this, I'll probably do it indoors. I'll find a CrossFit gym that has everything I need indoors, until next summer when it's nice and hot early in the morning. So here you see me doing ball slams. This is a 40-pound ball. Unfortunately, we don't have a ski machine at my commercial gym, so I had to make do. Normally the alternative is bands, but I couldn't find two tension bands of the same tension. And even the ones that I could find just weren't working out. So I ended up resorting to the medicine ball, which doesn't really simulate it, but was good enough, I think, for cardio, for the cardio that it gave me. Next, we got the burpee box jump overs. Looking back at the video, I realized I was doing these wrong. I started out with the 32 or 36 inch box, and I just found that it was way too high. I could jump over it, but probably would be, catching the back of my foot on the edge of the box, and I'd probably fall and land on my face. So I decided to go with the 24-inch box. Until later, I realized after looking at a few videos that you can kind of brace yourself on the box, so you don't have to do a clean jump over it. So if I do this again, I'll change that up. But these were fun. These were something I'm more accustomed to. I've done P90Xs before. I've done kinds of exercises like this before. So this was a fun one. It does take a massive toll on the cardio. This is, at this point, when you've done the first two exercises, these do get super, super hard and super exhausting. That being said, you are supposed to do 4 sets of these, 4 sets of the whole circuit, 4 circuit sets. And I wasn't able to do that because I was on a time crunch. So my punishment for that was just do as many push-ups as I can before I had to leave. So that's been another, kind of typical punishment that I'll give to myself as I want to continue to develop my chest. It helps a lot. So I think overall I'm going to give this exercise, this workout, a favorable rating. Like I do enjoy it. It's a fun kind of way to challenge yourself, the way you score yourself at the end. The ski machine is an element that I really need to figure out before I can fully assess the workout. And until then, this will be something I'll have in my back pocket for Saturdays. Saturdays are usually my functional training days, my cardio days. And they usually follow a forearm day. So Saturdays I'll usually use as like gap days. So I normally run like push-pull legs. And then on Saturdays and Fridays, I'll use those to just work on areas of my physique that I want to target more. So rear delts are areas that I want to target more, forearms, grip, specifically fingers. And then right after that, I'll do my cardio. Let's see. First vlog. That was not my favorite. I hate cardio. So I'll start off by saying a little bit about me. My name is Michael, and I'm a all-around novice athlete, or a what I like to call a Rudy athlete. If you've ever seen the movie Rudy, you know what I'm talking about. I've always had a passion for sports and any kind of physical exercise or challenge that you could do. It's just the nature of man, I guess. Competitive nature, competing against yourself, improving yourself, just trying to get better at something. The nature of winning, scoring, has always been appealing to me. Grew up playing soccer most of my young life until I took a really bad kick to the inside of my knee, which damaged my patella tendon. It put me in rehab for like 6 months, and then made me aware of a common issue with the patella, runner's knee. So I kind of just fell off of soccer, partially also because I was pretty decent, but there were a lot of people that were way better than me, so I was usually not starting, which made it less fun. I played in clubs, I played at school, and there's different levels always, but in a nutshell, soccer, played volleyball for a couple years, I swam for a couple years, which was amazing. I played water polo, which I wish I was 1% good at. I'm not 0% good at water polo. I'm horrible at it. That's probably the most difficult sport. Like, I know technically like boxing's the most difficult sport. I think water polo should be way up there. Granted, I've never boxed. So that, and then for a while I would run very often, like distant, like 5-mile runs, 3-mile runs, until that kind of took its toll on my knee. And mind you, this is like 15 years ago, before I knew anything about ATG training or you know, how to strengthen the tendons around the knee, which is something that I'm only now just getting into. I mentioned volleyball. That I kind of got off of athletics for a while, just kind of life had different priorities. I had different ambitions in life. I didn't have that same drive. I used to live in Chicago. I live in Arizona now. And in Chicago, it's always gloomy and cold most of the time, or it's just inconsistent, which some people don't mind it, but it had a very big effect on me. I function way, way better in the heat and the sun. So I kind of put aside athletics until I just randomly had a desire to start rock climbing. And so I rock climbed for 3 years, indoor rock climbing. That's probably my favorite sport. It's the most addicting sport ever. Like, I wanted to be in the rock climbing gym 24/7. I started fantasizing about buying a van, renovating it out, and just traveling the world rock climbing. And that's never something I would have done, and I didn't. but yeah, rock climbing is an amazing sport. I probably will go back to it eventually, to a certain degree. I didn't leave it for any particular reason other than COVID. So after the lockdowns initiated, I stopped. I was kind of dying down just because it was inconvenient for me. I'd have to go after work, and I lived an hour away from work. So by the time I'd get home from work, it would be like 8, 9 o'clock, sometimes 10, because I'd stay super late. So I'd be in the gym for 3 hours. So it became less and less convenient, to the point where, and we didn't have any really close by me. The closest one by me was where I lived, was 30 minutes. So after COVID, we moved to Arizona, or during COVID. And at that time, I was 200 pounds, which I had never been in my life. I didn't gain it because of COVID. I actually gained it because of rock climbing. I didn't really care about aesthetics. I didn't care about being lean. I liked being a little hefty. Like, I never really was. I was always skinny fat. And I said, you know what? Like, I don't like cardio, so I'm probably never gonna be like beach lean. So why not just own this and enjoy it and just get big? So I would eat whatever I wanted. I'd eat like 2-3 helpings of pasta, lots of rice and meat stew. It's like traditional Assyrian cooking. Just ate whatever I wanted, ate lots of it. And kind of paying attention to my GI health more than anything, because I always had GI issues. So I always still ate like good, clean foods. I just ate a lot of them. And I got to a point where I weighed in at 200, like on the dot. I think it was 201. And I honestly didn't mind it until, because everything got big. It wasn't just fat. Like, my arms got bigger, my biceps, my forearms, everything got big. When you rock climb, your forearms get super juicy. Until eventually, like, my belly kind of was getting bigger than I liked. So I decided, no, I've kind of like gone too far. So that's when the lockdowns happened. I stopped eating so much. I just was eating like a normal amount. Lockdowns. Then we moved here. This was 2020, 2021, 2020, I think. And yeah, 2020, moved here in, I think, July. I did P90X for 3 months. I lost like 30 pounds, and I was intermittent fasting. I started with an 18-hour fast. I felt like lethargic and was getting headaches. Then I toned it down to a 16-hour fast, just because I thought I was overdoing it. But then a 16-hour fast felt like nothing was working. I was like, I don't think this is doing anything. So I decided to give it one last chance. As with everything in life, for me, it's like on or off. I don't have like in-betweens. Like, I'm a sprinter. I'm not a endurance person. So that's just with everything. If I do anything, I have to obsess about it. Otherwise, it's not enough. So that's what I said. I said 20 hours. So we pushed it to 20 hours. I was only eating 4 hours a day, was probably eating less than 1,000 calories. Some days maybe just over, until I started counting my calories. So I lost 30 pounds in those like 3 months, which I know is insane. Then I started lifting. I just started going. It felt like it. I said, I've gotten skinny, and I'm still skinny fat. Didn't have abs or anything. So I said, okay, I need to do something about this. Like, I want to have big forearms like I used to. I missed those, having that size. I had a bigger chest. I had a flabby chest, but I had a bigger chest, bigger shoulders, bigger arms, bigger biceps, bigger forearms, thicker fingers, which is still something I can't seem to get back to. So then I started lifting, and I fell in love. It just was became a habit. I taught myself. I always had sleep issues that intermittent fasting fixed. So I'm a huge proponent of intermittent fasting. And I started sleeping 8 hours a day, falling asleep at like 9:30, waking up at 4:30. Now I wake up more like 6:30, but earlier in the summers when the sun rises sooner, I wake up with the sun basically. So there's that, and yeah. So now I have some different goals. I'm gonna move this to driving. Now I have different goals. Now I'm in terms of what kind of athlete I am or want to be. I don't have a clear definition on it. It's more like my goals are, yes, to have some aesthetics. Like, I want to round out my shoulders. I want thicker forearms. I want a slimmer waist. Some of the I just kind of want to fill in areas that I feel like have voids. I want to round out my delt, and I need to work on my rear delt a lot in order to do that and build that cap. My rear delt, my side delt, this section where the pec meets the front delt, that really needs to fill out, because it just kind of feels like I have some mass in the center and my arms are underdeveloped. And the reason why they're probably underdeveloped is because most programs tell you like, oh, your arms will kind of get developed by doing all these other exercises, but it's just not the case for me. I don't know if it's genetics. I don't know if it's because I spent so many years rock climbing where my arms do demand lots of strain. And have a lot of endurance on my arms too, because you're hanging on walls for, extended periods of time, and you do multiple sets throughout an hour and a half, 2 hour period. So that's a goal I have. Other goals are joint health. I have really bad knees. I also I have I don't know if you call it an injury, but I have a pinched nerve in my neck and trap area, shoulder area. I don't know what triggered it. It might have been deadlifts. It might have been the way I sleep. So I usually sleep on my back, but occasionally I find it difficult to just fall asleep like that. So I end up sleeping on my arm, and I think sometimes that adds to the strain. I saw a PT, a buddy of mine named James Abena, Dr. James, out in Scottsdale, Arizona, and I should have seen him immediately because he fixed me up in 2 sessions. I went from a 9 pain to a 3 or 2 or a 1. So it's still there, but it doesn't really inhibit me from exercise. It doesn't inhibit my, it doesn't create pain while working out anymore. It did. Before sometimes I couldn't lift a single thing on my left side. So he did some stuff, very simple stuff, and that helped a lot. So kind of to recap, or to summarize, my goals are some aesthetics, round out my shoulders, try to get at least a slim waist, if not abs, thicker forearms, thicker fingers and hands, better grip strength. And my chest was a goal that I've achieved. I could develop it more, of course, but I used to have a very flabby chest. Now I'm very confident with my chest. It's pretty firm. So that's kind of the main aesthetic stuff. Maybe a thicker neck, some trap development, just to kind of have that bare look. And then then you've got joint health. That's something that's very important to me. So I'll be following like the ATG program to work on my knees. I've been on treadmills backwards at an incline. I've been doing that for a while, which seems to help. Then there's just like overall longevity and vitality. So I want to make sure I'm able to do these kinds of things well into my 60s and 70s. So that's something that's very, very important to me. As I see my family members get older and I see how they're kind of like, they're just in their 60s, some of them, and they're starting to lose their quality of life. I want to be able to still be nimble and still be able to have, you know, do activities with my kids when they're my age. So that's another major goal of mine. Long term. So short term aesthetics, long term vitality, and then some like sports into it. I want to get back into rock climbing. I play tennis occasionally. I want to get into HYROX. So I'm trying to build up my cardiovascular system, which sucks right now, in order to feel confident doing a HYROX, and tactical games. So, and a mix of all that, probably some hiking. Arizona hiking is a lot more brutal than it is in the Midwest. I loved hiking in the Midwest, but it's just not that great here. So, yeah, that's where I'm at. Those are my goals for the channel. I have a lot of opinions on this stuff. I've only been doing it for 3 years. So part of me feels like it's been, well, 2 years, maybe 2-3 years. And I don't see a lot of the progress that I wish I saw. And sometimes you hear feedback where it's like, oh, this stuff takes a long time. So don't get beat up too much about it, which probably is to an extent true. But when I look back at some of my old photos, I was like, I should have seen a little bit more progress than this, which is weird because when I look at myself in the mirror at home, I do feel confident. I do feel like I've made progress. But when I look at the photos, I'm like, man, I should have had bigger arms by now. Arms grow a little bit more easily than everything else. I am proud of certain things, like my chest development has increased. I can deadlift 315. I don't do it anymore. I can deadlift 315. I can squat 315. I don't really squat 315. My max there is just 3 reps with bad form, to be honest. I've done like 275 squat. I used to work that weight and I wasn't planning on going above it. One of my biggest problems was I'd get dizzy. I'd have that like just bearing down too much and getting all that like head pressure. So squats started to scare me. I started to just do more volume at low weight, and finding other ways to engage the quads, at least if I don't have a spotter. So sleds, and just like body weight squats, or kettlebell squats, or all these different kinds of things that I'm finding now. I'm pretty confident with my quads. It's not the quads so much that bother me, it's my knees. So right now focusing on knees for legs. Yeah, we'll pause it there. So thanks for watching. God bless. We'll see you in the next one.